This summer, we got a bunch of updates on games we're excited for. And I'm not gonna lie, there are still a bunch of games we haven't heard from, so allow me to update you on those absent games and let you know what we know about some of the most anticipated launches of the near future. Given Sony and Santa Monica Studios' much anticipated follow-up to 2017's God of War is still, at the time of recording, scheduled to arrive this year, it seems pretty incredible we didn't at least see something over the course of this summer. Having missed Sony's most recent State of Play event, most of us reckoned Kratos and Atreus' next adventure was for sure going to show its painted face during the following week's Summer Games Fest. It didn't, making God of War Ragnarok the highest profile MIA game from this year's season of showcases. We'll undoubtedly see more soon, be that new gameplay footage, or at the other end of the anticipation spectrum, news of a delay. But boy, unlike the bond between this father and son, we feel abandoned.
War is not the only way.
Massive Games, the team behind Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, is working on an official Indiana Jones game. We haven't seen or heard much other than the first teaser trailer that dropped in January of last year, and given the fact it's been several years since the studio's last release, we thought we might have seen something indie related at the Xbox and Bethesda Games showcase. Alas, as its place on this list affirms, we did not see a lot, leaving us craving a modern-day gamified take on Dr. Jones more than ever. But hey, at least he's in Fortnite. We know that Joanna Dark does her best work in the shadows, but we'd sort of hoped she'd be dragged into the spotlight sometime soon. Xbox Game Studios assigned a reboot of the Perfect Dark series to The Initiative, a brand new studio that's trying to build prestige AAA games for the Xbox platform. We've heard reports of a rocky development since it was announced in 2020, so perhaps it's no surprise that Perfect Dark has left us perfectly in the dark. With The Initiative now co-developing the game with Tomb Raider developer Crystal Dynamics, hopefully we'll see some more of Perfect Dark at the next Xbox showcase.
Did you find the answers you were looking for, Agent Dark?
Not yet. This is just the beginning.
Since its announcement in 2019, fans of 2K's Big Daddy sporting underwater FPS have been pining for more info on Bioshock 4. The Ken Levine-led Irrational Games may have disbanded since the series' last entry, but the specially formed Cloud Chambers Studios has taken on the mantle, tasked with bringing Bioshock to life once more. A mix of speculation and reading between the lines has us thinking Bioshock 4 will extend its first-person shooter heritage and will be set in a fictional 1960s Antarctic city called Borealis, but nothing is certain at this point. A trailer this summer could have shed light on the subject, but it just wasn't meant to be. News of an open-world Avatar game named Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora wowed the virtual crowds of E3 last year. And with James Cameron's Avatar 2 film due to hit cinemas this December, a 2022 launch date for its video game counterpart seemed to have made sense. Fast forward 12 months and we've seen very little of Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment's slant on Pandora, making its absence ever since all the more bewildering. In May, Ubisoft reaffirmed that Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Mario plus Rabbids 2, and Skull and Bones were all on track to launch before the end of the fiscal year, which concludes March 31st, 2023. We'll take them at their word, but a wee little E3 trailer would have gone a long way. Built in Unreal Engine 5 and bolstered by state-of-the-art photogrammetry technology, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 looks every bit the sequel to 2017's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. The latter was primarily a solid third-person action-adventure game inspired by Norse mythology and Celtic culture. Having liaised closely with neuroscientists throughout the course of the game's development, Ninja Theory also created a protagonist struggling with psychosis. And seeing how the developers will expand on these ideas in Part 2 is very exciting. Given the games on show at the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase are all due in the next 12 months, and given the fact Hellblade 2 didn't feature, this one is likely further away than we're hoping. Microsoft first unveiled that Fable 4 was in development back in 2020, and is a full series reboot in development at Playground Games. That's the studio behind the Forza Horizon series, by the way. Since then, we've been sustained by the short cinematic reveal trailer for 2 years now, and many believed, and when I say believed I do mean of course desperately hoped, that we would finally get a look at the new Fable game this year. But then another Xbox conference came and went, and another no-show for Fable 4. There's been such a lack of new information since its reveal that the Fable reboot is clearly earlier in development than we'd hoped for. In what can only be described as a match made in heaven, Hitman developer IO Interactive is actively working on a James Bond game, currently boasting the working title Project 007. The quality of old-school spy games has dipped somewhat in recent years, but given the fact Hitman is essentially James Bond with a bold protagonist, this one seems to be in safe hands. Details are still thin on the ground at present, with the latest snippet of new information being the fact that it didn't appear. So just like a Bond villain stroking their pet rabbit while sat in a chair, we'll be expecting this game. I'm not gonna lie, we let the internet get our hopes up for this one. The swell of excitement around the Xbox and Bethesda conference, particularly as countless Obsidian developers took to social media to tease their involvement in the showcase, had gotten us excited about seeing more Avowed. If you don't remember it, Avowed is Obsidian's brand new RPG set in the Pillars of Eternity world, but otherwise looks like the studio's take on the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Well, that didn't happen. Obsidian announced Pentiment instead is in the works, and we didn't get anything about Avowed.
Forsaken. And you must face the monsters our sins have borne.
And those are the games we're still waiting to hear from. I guess there's always Gamescom. Speaking of, we're going to be bringing you all the latest news and info from the show, so if you want the latest on these games and much, much more, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in Germany. Auf Wiedersehen!